I told you guys I was done. I did. I said that was the final part of the Thomas Take Sports podcast. But a part of the podcast that I was going to bring to you guys tomorrow is this. The WWE has missed the boat on Ronda Rousey. That is the newest edition of the Thomas Take that I'm going to bring to you live right here, right now. I was going to bring it to you live tomorrow. Realized I cannot. But here it is. The WWE has completely missed the boat on Ronda Rousey, and I'm going to tell you a few reasons why. Now, let me preface all my statements by saying I do think it's a little bit of a, I don't want to say it's a joke because that would be the wrong word. I should say it's a little bit of a letdown. It's a letdown. That's a better word. That Ronda Rousey is not fighting in the UFC anymore. To me, I think that despite the adversity she faced in her career, despite the fact that she had come off of 2 consecutive devastating knockout losses to Holly Holm and to Amanda Nunes, that had she changed camps in between the Holm-Nunes fight, had a new camp for the Nunes fight, she could have won. I really believe that. I've said that, and people are like, really? I'm like, I really believe had she got out of Edmund Trevathan's, clutches, that she could have rehabilitated her career. She could have given it that second act that so many fans thought she could bring. So many little girls, teenage girls, women thought that she was such this endearing, strong figure, which she was, but in her greatest moment of, adversity, she didn't retire. She is yet to retire. She quit. There's a little bit of a difference in that. Retiring is when you've had your peaks and valleys. You've had the peak, you've had the valley, you've had the peak, you've had the valley, and then you've peaked, and you can say, I'm done. Or if you've plateaued, you can say, I'm done. That's it. I have no more. There's nothing left. Where with Ronda, she was peaking, rising. There was never a fall. Until she was at the very top, she crashed to the very bottom. And she stayed at the ground floor for a while and was slowly inching her way back up the mountain on a comeback trail. And then the fight happened versus Amanda Nunes, and she couldn't handle a loss. That's the legacy of Ronda Rousey, is that she couldn't handle a loss. That's a shame. I think that is a real shame. I really do. I'm not saying that sarcastically. I'm not saying that, in any negative way. I think that she should still be in the UFC. I think she could have regained her title. And that moment in UFC history, in mixed martial arts history, would have been unlike any other, in my opinion. The moment in which she could have got her title back, if she had made that happen, that would have been incredible. It really would have been. But, maybe we will see that, maybe we won't. But for right now, she defects over to the WWE, and I think that's a little bit of a letdown. She goes from real fighting to fake fighting, choreographed fighting, I should say. There are just as many opportunities for injury and things like that in the WWE than there are in the NFL or the UFC or Major League Baseball or any other, sports entertainment league, because that's what the WWE is. It's a sports entertainment league. In terms of wrestling, you have a lot of opportunity to get hurt. You have a lot of misfortune in there. It's a rough racket, traveling constantly, on the road, going through the matches over and over and over again. It's tough. There's no doubt about that. But I truly feel thus far, with the gimmick and the instances, which I've watched, by the way, I've watched both times she's been on Raw, in the Rumble thing, and where she signed the contract, and she came out, and then the next one where she signed the contract and all that, or whatever. I've watched all of it. Kurt Angle chiming in, that was very well played by Kurt, by the way. Thought he did a fantastic job. and saying, oh, well, Triple H and Stephanie were saying that you were washed up. I thought that was pretty funny. But I feel like they've missed the boat. And the reason why I feel they've missed the boat, the real reason why I feel like they've missed the boat, is due to the fact that they haven't given her a rival yet. She doesn't have a rival in terms of a wrestler. Her rival right now is Stephanie McMahon, and that has been done so many times. The wrestler versus the authority, the wrestler versus the boss, the wrestler versus... In this case, it's different because it's two women, and that is great for not only women in sport, but for the WWE, it's a different angle, and I get it from that perspective. But she needs a rival wrestler. And the reality is, the longer the WWE doesn't show Ronda Rousey wrestling, the more room we, the fans, and the viewers have to doubt whether she can wrestle in a professional WWE ring. She's got great judo ability. She's a Olympian judo practitioner. She obviously could fight. She could beat up any of the women in the WWE. All of them. She could beat them all. But in terms of her presence in a WWE ring is what I'm referring to as believable. The longer we delay that, where she's having an exchange with a wrestler, not Stephanie McMahon, but with a wrestler, the more we have the right to second guess whether she can handle herself in the ring as far as on the mic and things like that. I think she's got a lot of work to do in terms of her mic presence. You know, the way she talked, you know, the last episode I thought was a little bit strange. And in terms of her rival, the best rival that you could put across the ring from Ronda is Charlotte Flair. Of anyone, that is the best rival that she could have, because Charlotte Flair is obviously the daughter of Ric Flair, who in my mind and in the minds of many wrestling fans is the greatest WWE wrestler, you know, the greatest wrestler period of all time. Brought the true showman to world entertainment, you know, world wrestling entertainment, brought the showman capabilities that so many other wrestlers have today, and so many wrestlers in between. And Charlotte is good too. She's great in her own way. She has her own thing. I like that idea of Ronda versus Charlotte Flair. It could really make that into a true barn burner of a rivalry, one that could actually dominate the WWE headlines over the men. And I think Charlotte would be up for that. It would boost her profile, it would boost the Flair name with her name in front of it. Charlotte Flair, Ronda Rousey. They would launch themselves up onto a new pedestal above everybody else, and I would want to see that at WrestleMania. That's what needs to be marketed, not this Triple H, Stephanie McMahon. Nobody cares about that. Nobody wants to see Stephanie McMahon with a wrestler because they know that she can't wrestle. Nobody wants to see Triple H wrestle a woman or lose to a woman or worse, you know, win versus a woman. Him taking the fall, being chokeslammed into a table by Ronda, didn't do much for me because it showed that it was choreographed, that it was rehearsed, that it was everything that I don't want to see in the WWE. Granted, I understand that it's choreographed and all that stuff, but I want to see it be more believable, as if it actually could be reality if Ronda Rousey chokeslammed Charlotte Flair into a table, or threw Charlotte Flair out of the ring, or hip tossed Charlotte Flair. I want to see Flair versus Rousey. I want to see Ronda Rousey's name in the circles of the female national demographic to raise in another way, because there are a lot of female UFC fans. I know hundreds of female UFC fans because female fighting in the UFC is evolving and getting better and bigger every single day, event to event. But in terms of the WWE, that would take a portion of the UFC's demographic for women and bring it to the WWE in more ways than one. More ways than one meaning realizing, oh, Ric Flair has a daughter. Oh, she's a wrestler. Oh, she's a champion. Ronda Rousey. Oh, she was a UFC champion. Oh, she's a great WWE wrestler. She has ability. I'm not questioning Ronda Rousey's ability to sell moves and things like that. I think she can. But the longer they don't show her doing that, the longer we have to doubt whether she can. And without a real rival in anything, what's the point? Especially something that's choreographed, especially something that's scripted. If she is creating a rivalry with Triple H and Stephanie McMahon, with Kurt Angle thrown in the mix there too as the Raw general manager, I think that that's a little boring. I don't think that does a lot for me as a sports fan. Now, I'm not as big in the WWE as I used to be. Obviously, we all can say for ourselves that we watched the WWE much more when we were kids. But I will say I'm trying, and I will say that they have me intrigued with Ronda Rousey in the WWE. I'm intrigued by that, whether it be for reasons of actual entertainment or somewhat laughing at it just because it's so choreographed and so over the top, corny in terms of that. We'll see. I don't want to kick her. She hasn't even, I'm not knocking Ronda Rousey. It actually doesn't have anything to do with Ronda Rousey. It's more the WWE. I truly believe they're missing the boat on who could be their biggest draw in the last decade. I'm Ryan Thomas. It was the Thomas Take. Take care, everybody.